The Deathworlders heard the SOS, and their ruthless fleet made the aliens pay. The distress signal pulsed through the void for 17 days before reaching the edge of Terran space, its simple pattern repeating with increasing desperation. SOS. Under attack. Civilian settlement. Mass casualties. Coordinates follow. Please help. Aboard the Terran Space Force, monitoring station Vigilant Dawn, Lieutenant Amara Okafor's console lit up with the translated message. The signal's origin surprised her. It came from the Lyrian Outpost, a peaceful xenobotanical research colony established by the Alarai Collective. The Alarai were one of the gentlest species in the galaxy, six-limbed empaths with translucent exoskeletons who had evolved on a low-gravity world with minimal environmental pressures. OK4 forwarded the message up the chain of command with highest priority flags. Within minutes, Admiral Helena Zio was reviewing the intel with her senior staff. The Alarai have been allies for 15 years, Zio noted, her weathered face grim as she studied the holographic display of the sector. They've shared valuable medical research and have never posed even the slightest threat to Terran interests. Colonel Marcus Way, her chief of operations, examined the signal analysis. The attack signature suggests Krivax raiders. Energy weapons consistent with their cruiser class. This isn't a misunderstanding or territorial dispute, it's a slaughter. The Krivax Imperium, a species of armored predatory hexapods, had been expanding their territory through brutal conquest for decades. Their philosophy was simple: the strong consumed the weak. Being native to a high-gravity planet with extreme seasonal variations had made them hardy warriors, but nothing compared to humans. Earth, with its crushing gravity, atmospheric storms, tectonic instability, and endless parade of predators, diseases, and environmental catastrophes, had forged humanity into something the galaxy's elder species regarded with fascination and fear. Deathworlders, they called humans, creatures whose home planet should have killed them, but instead hardened them beyond all reason. Admiral Zio's decision took less than 30 seconds. Deploy Strike Group 7. I want the Thunder of Terror and its battle group at those coordinates in 12 hours. The diplomatic corps might object to an unauthorized military response, cautioned her political liaison. The Krivax haven't directly threatened Terran interests. Zio's dark eyes flashed. Our allies are our interests. And I don't recall asking permission to protect the innocent. On Lyrian Outpost, Dr. Elara Tyne huddled with the last 27 survivors in the research station's underground fungal cultivation chamber. A brilliant xenobotanist, she had come to this remote moon to study its unique symbiotic ecosystems. Now, 6 days into the Krivax assault, she listened to the chittering of armored raiders searching the levels above. 312 Alarai researchers and support staff had been on Lyrian when the Krivax arrived. Most had been executed immediately. Some had been taken aboard the raiders' ships for unknown but certainly horrific purposes. The remainder, like Elora, had gone into hiding. The Alarai weren't built for combat. Evolved on a gentle world with few predators and abundant resources, they had developed empathic abilities and cooperative social structures rather than physical strength or aggressive tendencies. Against the Krivax apex predators from a nightmare world, they stood no chance. "They're coming closer," whispered Zivix, the colony's administrator, his translucent exoskeleton pulsing with fear colors. "The emergency beacon, did anyone respond?" Elara checked the small receiver she'd managed to salvage. "There's no way to know. All outgoing communications are being jammed." A crash sounded from the level above, followed by the distinctive sound of Krivax mandibles clicking in anticipation. The raiders had found the entrance to the lower levels. "Prepare yourselves," Elara said softly, gripping the makeshift weapon she'd fashioned from laboratory equipment. She knew it would be useless against the armored invaders, but something in her Terran DNA refused to die without a fight. The ceiling hatch exploded inward. Through the smoke, the first Krivax warrior descended, its armored limbs gleaming, its compound eyes swiveling to take in the cowering Alary. It raised its disruptor weapon, and then it exploded. Captain Sofia Rivera, of the TSF Thunder of Terror, watched the tactical display as her Marines deployed to the surface of Lyrian outpost. The Krivax had 7 vessels in orbit, 2 cruisers and 5 smaller raiders. None had detected her battle group's arrival, thanks to the latest Terran stealth systems. Strike Elements Alpha through Delta have touched down, reported her tactical officer. Engaging Krivax ground forces. Echo and Foxtrot are securing the research facility. Rivera nodded, her focus on the Krivax vessels. Status of the enemy fleet? Still unaware of our presence, Captain. Their continuing atmospheric bombardment of the western continent. Prepare main batteries. Target their engines and weapon systems. I want those ships disabled, not destroyed. A cold smile touched Rivera's lips. Not yet, anyway. The Thunder of Terror was the newest flagship of the Terran Space Force, a vessel whose very existence violated several provisions of the Galactic Compact on proportional armament. But humanity had learned harsh lessons in its early days of interstellar expansion. The galaxy was not a kind place, and the only language some species understood was overwhelming force. All ground teams report Krivax resistance is minimal, the comms officer announced. They weren't expecting any opposition. Marine Commander Chen reports they've located survivors in the research station, including 1 human. A human? Rivera's eyebrow raised. On an Alary research station. Dr. Elara Tin, xenobotanist. She's assisting our medics with the Alary wounded. Rivera filed that information away. Signal all vessels. Execute Operation Thunderclap. Warlord Captain Kresvik of the Krivax Imperium was savoring his latest conquest when alarms blared across his command cruiser. Before he could demand an explanation, his vessel shuddered violently as precise energy beams sliced through his shields and severed his ship's primary propulsion system. "Attackers!" shrieked his sensor operator. Multiple vessels appeared from nowhere. On his tactical display, 7 Terran warships had materialized, surrounding his fleet in a perfect kill box. Each Krivax vessel was caught in the targeting solution of at least 2 Terran ships. "Impossible," Kresvik snarled, mandibles clacking furiously. No vessels could approach without detection. His weapons officer chittered frantically. "Warlord, they've disabled our engines and weapons with surgical precision. We are helpless." For the first time in his blood-soaked career, Kresvik felt fear crawl through his armored carapace. The Terrans had a reputation. Stories whispered among the warrior species of the galaxy about the ferocity of these Deathworlders, about the terrible consequences of earning their enmity. "Open communications," he ordered. "Prepare to negotiate terms." The main view screen activated, revealing the face of a human female with dark eyes and close-cropped black hair. Thin scars traced one side of her face, battle wounds she had chosen not to have removed. "This is Captain Sofia Rivera of the Terran Space Force vessel Thunder of Terror. You have attacked a peaceful research station, murdered hundreds of civilians, and tortured prisoners. Under the Interstellar Protocol of Sapient Rights, you are declared hostis humani generis enemies of all civilized beings." Kresvik straightened, attempting to project confidence. "We claim this system by right of conquest. The weak exist to serve the strong. This is the way of—" "Spare me your philosophy," Rivera interrupted, her voice colder than the void between stars. "Here are your options, Warlord. Surrender your vessels and all personnel immediately for trial under compact law, or we will demonstrate why species like yours have learned to fear the children of Earth." Pride warred with survival instinct in Kresvik's primitive brain. And if I refuse this unauthorized demand from a species with no jurisdiction here? Rivera's smile contained no warmth. Then I will teach you why they call us Deathworlders. 3 days later, Admiral Zio stood before the Galactic Compact Security Council, facing representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations. The Krivak's ambassador was notably absent. The Imperium was still reeling from the loss of one of their most successful raiding fleets. The Terran Space Force operated outside established protocols, complained the Volrathi delegate, a methane-breathing species known for their rigid adherence to bureaucratic procedure. Military intervention required prior council approval. With respect, Admiral Zio replied, her voice steady, while the council deliberated. People were dying. The Alari are a peaceful species who pose no threat to the Krivaks. This was not warfare, it was slaughter. From his position nearby, the Alari delegate's exoskeleton pulsed with gratitude colors. The Terran response saved 27 of my people, including our most brilliant researchers. The debt we owe cannot be measured. And the Krivak's vessels? Inquired the Dorlin representative. Our information suggests only one was destroyed, despite your overwhelming firepower advantage. The merciless Fang refused to surrender and attempted to fire upon our medical evacuation shuttles, Zhao answered. The others were disabled, boarded, and their crews taken into custody for trial. Their ships have been impounded and will be redistributed as reparations to the Alari Collective. The council chamber filled with murmurs. Such decisive action was uncommon in a galaxy where most conflicts simmered for decades before diplomatic solutions were reached. This incident serves as a reminder, Zhao continued, her gaze sweeping the chamber. Humanity may be newcomers to the galactic stage, but we bring with us certain principles. Chief among them, the strong protect the weak. It is not might that gives one the right to rule, it is how that might is used. She gestured to the holographic display, showing the rescued Alari being treated by Terran medical personnel. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived predators, plagues, and disasters that should have ended our species 1,000 times over. But we didn't just survive, we learned compassion. We learned that true strength lies in defending those who cannot defend themselves. Admiral,